what you have to be to become an ambassador, even of Budapest. You have to have bled for that party. There is no ambassador, especially on the Democrats, that is not a deep blue, person. And they let their ambassador die. They let their ambassador be raped. They let their ambassador's body be dragged down the street on a live feed. So this is how, and then they lied about it and continue to lie about it. And Lois Lerner won't even talk about what's happening to Congress. And why do you think it was Elijah Cummings that got up and had to have that, his meltdown? Why could, because, again, it's all about the optics. What we must do is begin to stand up and say, you know what, Elijah Cummings? You may see yourself as a black man. I see you as an American, and I want what's right for America. And I want to know what happened with the IRS and why they were attacking the Tea Party and conservative groups. Nancy Pelosi, you may see yourself as a California loon. We see you as that too. But we want to know what's good for America. We want to know what makes sense for America. It's not about this goofiness that's going on, because that will kill us. It will kill us. So please do not continue to play into those optics. Please stand up and be bold, because this train is not headed in the right direction. I used to think, when I left Reagan in 1984, I went back to high school, finished high school, of course, went to UT, finished there, went on and just felt that there wasn't anything I couldn't do. There just wasn't anything I couldn't do. But now, we have children who are coming out of incredible schools. My sister graduated from Stanford Law School in 2012. And anyone who's ever been to that college, it is the most beautiful campus. I mean, Palo Alto, just outside of San Francisco, it's gorgeous. When you see Condi Rice, when she's speaking, and isn't that a shame what they did to her at Rutgers? I mean, isn't that shameful? Yep. She should never, they should be kissing her feet. This woman is brilliant, and yet the way they won't even allow her to speak, this is not the America that Ronald Reagan gave us. But I was saying, Condi Rice and the campus of Stanford, and Thomas Sowell is there. Thomas Sowell said that students are coming to him saying they're worried about the future. Now this is Stanford, a beautiful, beautiful landscape, and they're worried about the future. And this is the number one ranked school in the country. Enough said. You know why? Because there's something that's going on in this country. When I was at UT, I studied Russian. That's another weird thing about me. So I'm black, Republican, Libertarian, Russian. I just don't fit into a lot of easy boxes. But the one thing that happened when I was studying Russian, nobody spoke Russian. So they had to get Russians to come teach us Russian down in Austin. And there was something different about them, and it wasn't the color of their skin. There was something in their heart that was different. Something in their spirit that was different. Something in just their drive that was different. But that same kind of thing that they had, that same kind of Paul, and it wasn't like it was one. Like I said, this is all throughout, is what's happening in America. We already know that we have less patents. We already know that we have less people who are starting businesses. We already know that, and yet we're just seeing the dying of America. And the way we wake it up is we start doing those three things. We start praying, and I mean praying like we've never prayed before. Pray that we turn this nation back around to God, that He heal us. The second thing is that we just stop seeing each other as divided. Because when that 2012 election happened and Romney lost and Obama won, I literally went into a deep funk. I went into a deep depression, and I cried real crocodile tears. And when that petition came out about Texas seceding from the U.S., and we had 350,000 people to sign, I was like number 211. I was like, let's get out of here right now. Let's go for it. And, I mean, I was wearing black all the time. I told people I was in mourning. I wrote an op-ed that got picked up in the Dallas Morning News and the Austin American Statesman. And I'm always glad when an op-ed gets picked up in Austin because I tell people, Keep Austin Weird was not just a bumper sticker, it was a real campaign. And yet, what got me out of the funk was that Texas flag. Because I was remembering what was going on in the Alamo. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. I remembered, people forget, that story of Texas and that story of the Alamo and what they went through and those letters to Travis, and people forget there was every race in the Alamo. There were blacks, there were whites, there were even Mexicans. It was about freedom and liberty. It wasn't about all the goofiness. There were women, there were men, there were children. All of that for that flag. And I was like, Karen, we can tell Barack Obama and Pelosi and Reid, you know what? You thought you wanted our liberty. You thought you wanted our freedom. We need to tell them, just like they said then, come and take it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah.
When are you going to run for office?
I'm not running for office. I am running to get America back. I'm running because, not for office, we've got Bob for that. I'm just tired of it. I am tired of the lies. And I am tired of what's happening to people. I was on a radio station in Dallas, Canton gospel radio show. I go in there, there's a shrine to Barack Obama. I'm like, okay, great, you know. They got his pictures and all that kind of stuff up there. And I said on that black radio station, I said, you know what? I am tired of the black community being a cheap date for the Democratic Party. And this woman called, she goes, you got me there. I was like, it's just, we're not saying those things. People know it. Who hurts more in this nation than black Americans? Who? Unemployment, wealth, foreclosure, who? The families. 73% of black kids are being born out of wedlock.
You remember the movie Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're a brilliant woman, you're smarter than me, but I had this idea the other day. Why doesn't someone like you come up with Groundhog Day from the standpoint of liberal Democrats, what they have promised the black community for 60 years and never delivered?
You know, that's what we're doing. I've been contacted by a group that wants to do a documentary. There are people who are standing up. And this is the other thing, too, you guys, because I'm a numbers person. I tell people I think in numbers. English is my second language. Do we have to get 100% of every black person to see it our way and to vote for their heart? We got half of what Nixon got in '68 of the black vote. Half. There would be no statewide Democratic and no national elected person in office. That's half of what Nixon got. It's low-hanging fruit to the but what happens is that we don't have the conversation because we have all the barriers. No one has said anything how Elijah Cummings defaced his office. Those grounds, that Congress is sacred. It is not to be grandstanded there. What is right there, there's the blood of those patriots. It's an American and should always be honored. And for him to have a meltdown because he wanted to go over his time and wanted to have, you know, to create, again, this battle. The only reason it's about Lois Lerman, now this has got to be the racial thing. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that is the game they play.
They do that.
Why don't we? The first thing I remember when I became a loan officer, they played and we just sit there like, okay, no one said. And that's what we all need to start doing that. We all need to stand up and say, not on our watch, this is over. You know, and stop acting like we can't ever say something, we can't ever stand up for what's true. Because those are hallowed halls. But, oh, we can't say anything because they're going to brand us racist. So what? You know, they're the racists for acting that way. They're the racists for making it seem that you can't judge Barack Obama as a man.
I need to, I think you'll agree with me on this, but I know you already know about the 65% rule. It's a Reconstruction law that makes them gerrymander the districts where there's high concentration of two minorities, black and Hispanic, where there's high concentration. They gerrymander the districts. They go over here and get some more, and go over here and get some more, so they can make that whole district be 65% of those two minorities.
Yes.
We need to stop that.
Yes.
Every person should get one vote. They should draw the districts in a reasonable way. Take a compass or make squares. Don't go over here to get this vote, go there, no there. And that is just unreal to me, and I am so frustrated and angry about it.
We should be. Well, I mean, we should be ashamed about all of it. The whole thing, like with the voter ID. Now, how come that was like a racist thing? I was so glad, for those of you who went to the poll, aren't you glad you had to show ID? Yes. I mean, why can't you show ID to vote? You should show ID to vote. You have to show ID to do everything else. And the reason they don't want you to do it, and the reason they had to show that it was, they wanted to show that it was a racist thing, because that's the game they play. That's how they try to win. But we are not going to
They
fall
make
back.
them feel sorry for themselves.
They do.
They really do. And they just say, oh, poor pitiful thing.
They do.
They say, you just don't understand.
They want you to be a victim. Yes, sir.
When is your book coming out?
My book is here.
Oh.
Yeah, my book is here. Yeah, my book is here. My book came out with all the stuff that I was going on, and I told people, I said, I've never had children, but when I finished my book, I felt like I gave birth to a two-headed baby. And it came out in late October 2012, and then, you know, we were doing everything we could to get it out, and then I went into the farms because, like I said, I was just like, don't talk to me after we lost. And then I'm on my second win. We are getting people have come up to me and said thank you, because these, I mean, they know it's the truth, but no one's been telling them. So it is just that. So we're here and we're strong. We're ready to go on. Yeah.
Good, too.
I was just going to say that I really believe that church-going black people care about the abortion situation with the black children. Per capita, there are more black babies, and I'll bet they don't know that.
That's
More
another
black
thing.
babies
A
aborted.
lot of us, you know, my people die for lack of knowledge. Marfa 21 is doing a great work. I was down in Austin last week with a group called Embrace, and it was black pastors all over the country. And I told them, I said, it's political. It is political. It's genocide. People don't know. They don't realize that.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that the most dangerous place for a black child is in the womb of a black woman. They don't realize that they're preaching to people to have them just not get what life is all about. And what that is doing with the women killing their own children and just not having a sense of life. So, because they don't care. So the whole problem is, when you think about the left always act as if they care. I was talking to this one hippie friend of mine, who I keep on telling her, if she's going to vote left, I'm going to take her voter's registration card away. You know, but she said, you know what, Karen? She goes, I agree with 99% of everything you say. She said, but you know, the left, you know, they really care about the poor.
Oh.
And I said, Shelley? Now, what I said had a lot of expletives in it, because I was so mad and it was so late that she was telling me this. And I said, they hate the poor the worst. They have harmed the poor the most. They could care less about the poor. The only thing they like about the poor is to make more of them. And they don't care. They're not, just like this whole thing about minimum wage. This is not about poor. Minimum wage will hurt people more than anybody else.
The young guys.
Yeah, and try to make, like you said, victims, making people into thinking that they're a victim. And it's planting in people's heads that they can't do it, that they can't make it in this country, that if someone has to give it to them. That's socialism. That's Marxism. That's communism. That's what they want. So the only people, and I know a lot of rich people. I tell people, I know people who have 2 pennies in their pocket and people who have 20 billion in their pocket, and they're all people.
Right.
But the richest people I know, I've never met one of them that spent $100 million on a personal vacation. How did we let Barack Obama and Michelle, mighty Michelle, go on a personal trip and spend $100 million of our taxpayer money when he went to at South Africa. That's insane. And if he needed to take a vacation, if that was so important that he was tired of playing so much golf and he needed a rest, why didn't he tour Detroit? You know? Why didn't he, like, you know what, if you're going to do, wouldn't that have been a revitalization for Detroit that went bankrupt on his watch? They don't care about the poor. They will use the poor. That's what socialism does. They mine the poor, and they create more poor, and they have more people feel, just like healthcare. This is not about healthcare.
Power.
I sit on the board at Parkland Hospital. You guys know where that is. It's just not that far. If there's a big trauma in North Texas, Parkland's going to get a call because we're a Trauma One hospital. Do you realize 400 hospitals have closed? Not doctors, hospitals have closed since Barack Obama came into office. 400. Cook County was barely holding on. 400 closed. Now we've got doctors who aren't even practicing medicine. We've got kids who are graduating school who were doing pre-med and are changing their majors. What kind of nation do we really want? We can't, this is not acceptable to me.
How do you get the word out about all the data that you're just telling us?
Everything I can.
I read everything that I can to, and I post everything I can to.
That's what we do. We do it one by one. When I was down in Corpus Christi, and they said, okay, come back again. We were just here. I'm like, you know what? We've got to get the word out. Because this is how we get it out. You and I. This is how we get